Hello friends, we are in Port of Spain, Trinidad and Island in the Caribbean, and we're going to look at Wildflower Park. There's a sign on the park that says no sporting events, no training of dogs, no driving and parking, and no public gatherings. So that excludes me. It's just me alone. I have my camera with me. It's an early morning. It's around maybe 7:30. That's the hollows and the savannah opposite, and this is just a plan to give you an idea of where we are, and that is Wildflower Park. Now, growing up from a youngster, this park has always been here, and the thing I remember most about it, seeing it as a teenager growing up through my manhood and so, is that people used it for mostly two things. One, they used to do a lot of security dog training down there in that hollow area. So I used to see a lot of dogs and people training these dogs, a lot of them trained to be attack dogs and stuff. The other thing I used to see a lot was people, when they finish having their wedding or whatever, they would gather there for photos. Other than that, I can't remember really seeing people use it that often, because the odd thing about it has this big drain in the middle of it, and that kind of cuts off the use of the park. Plus, there aren't many benches or anything. Anyway, we're gonna walk around the park today and have a look. Now, of course, you always hear these beautiful birds singing, and that's the nice thing about the green areas in Port of Spain. However, what I really like too is the use of these trees. Do you see how the trees blanket both sides of the road? I wish we could see more of that and more of our streets and roads. I mean, this is after all the Caribbean. It should be more green than concrete. The area is St. Clair. It's the more well-to-do of the country. There's a mango that fell. I don't see a mango tree around, so I don't know how it got there. This area is the more well-to-do. There are a lot of commissions, embassies, consulates, ministries, and residential areas. There's even the United Nations here too, in this area. So this area is kind of like a gathering of houses and buildings, somehow connected with the world, the Caribbean, the region, the Commonwealth. And there's even a small part of the park called the Commonwealth Park. It just has a stone that we will check out later. But you can see all the wildlife that gathers here, the birds, the butterflies, the bees. So like I said, there's nobody really here right now. It's early in the morning and there isn't much of a gathering or use of this park. However, this park has been surrounded in some controversy of late. Most of the people that try to use the park, it seems, it has been alleged that they have been chased off by a private security company. I haven't seen that for myself, but a popular political activist had written for information to be given through the Freedom of Information Act, asking certain questions about the signage, for instance, about the pesticides that are being used. And that is interesting. Why are there so many signs repeating the same thing about the use of the park? The other thing that is curious, the cameras in the area. Now, I do know, because the area is well-to-do, I expect to see cameras, but it is a public park. Let me just pause for a moment. I love how these palms here, these trees, are on the side of the road. I wish again we could see more of that in the country. These palms have been here since I was a kid, but these lights have not. That seems to be a newer thing. together with the use of the cameras, the signs, and whatnot. Now, I did see a few people walking around here, getting their exercise and whatnot. I don't know if they're directly connected to the area, but there is a path here for walking. This is, after all, a sidewalk. So I don't think it is that nobody can actually come here. This is, I believe, public property, but I believe if you decided, oh, let me have an event in the park, somehow people would be constrained. And why, I don't know. There isn't a sign saying that you can't pass through the park, but it does say something about public gatherings. But I don't recall seeing any signage about public gatherings in other parks, so I don't know what is the problem with this specific park. Now, they may say that it is to do with using pesticides, but then again, if you're using pesticides in this park, why would it not be used in other parks? I mean, what is special about this park that needs to be sprayed that often? There isn't a clue. But some of the questions this popular politician Michael Alexander, I have no connection to him, asked was, why is the public park owned by taxpayers of this country being treated with pesticides which can be harmful to animals and citizens using the park? And he also asked, what is it about these pesticides that are toxic, that could affect people? Why aren't they being used in the Queen's Park Savannah? And that's a question I have to, because you don't see this signage in the hollows or on the Queen's Park Savannah. Now, according to Alexander, the security cameras are being powered by somebody from one of the houses in the area, and I don't know that. I haven't seen it. Did you see that pesticide guy come in on the right? It's funny how I was here, and it just so happened that he is getting ready to spray. So maybe it's an active thing, or maybe just because they saw me coming. I don't know. I didn't see security on this day, so I don't know. But I have seen it when I driven past. I've seen security vehicles parked here. Again, look at this, the beauty of this area. The trees, they are very old. They've been here for a while, and it really makes for a nice tropical layout. Nice eye candy. You can see one person walking there. There were a few other people passing through the park, and there's again a sign at every turn claiming what you can and cannot do in the park. Can you hear the birds? Beautiful. Interesting trees here. Not being a botanist, horticulturist, I don't know the names. If you know the names of these trees, feel free to comment about it, and make sure to put the video time so we can know which tree you're talking about and can tell us the name. Now you can see this has been built in the shape of a Trinidad and a Tobago, but it doesn't seem to be well kept, so it's very hard to tell. But this is the stone plaque that they put saying the Commonwealth Gardens Wildflower Park. Some sort of commemoration, and the member states involved. I believe this was put here in 2021, and the British ambassador spoke and tra-la-la-la. But apart from that, it's funny that the name is Wildflower Park, but there aren't actually a lot of wildflowers. Just a few flowers planted here, and that's about it. All the rest is really green. The amazing thing about this particular park is actually the grand old trees. that stand here. But you see that part in the middle, the you know, river or whatever, drain that feeds to a river. I guess that takes away a lot of the water from the savanna and the park itself. That kind of hinders the ability to move from one end of the park to the next. So it's not really a place that you would come for a sporting event, for instance. I mean, you can't really have a ball game here if you wanted to, unless it was really small. But it could be a good place to sit down and talk or have a few pictures for a wedding. Although, in my opinion, I think there are a lot of better areas to do that. But apparently, according to the current controversy, it's not allowed. You can't do it. So I'm walking through the park right now. Nobody's stopping me, but then I'm just one person. I'm not a gathering. That's the drain I was talking about. So if you were to kick a ball and the ball went on the other side, there aren't enough crossings. And that may be purposeful, but it's always been that way in my opinion. That you really can't connect to the other side. There's one or two, but it's not many. So once you're on one side, that's it, unless you're willing to climb down into the drain and cross. There's one crossing there. Now the surprising thing to me is that despite all the signage, there's not the park doesn't seem to be well maintained. And when I say it doesn't seem to be well, the grass looks like it could do with a cut. There's some trash around. There's the stumps here, the wood cuttings left. The tree has fallen, nobody has removed it. So you know, it's like a bit of an eye candy and then a bit of eyesore as well to go along with it. In effect, those drains should have either some sort of covering or some sort of rail to prevent people from falling in there. It shouldn't be so exposed, and especially because it's right in the middle of the park. If you were to follow this, it would go right back to the hollows of the savanna. Those little boxes, I don't know what they're about. They don't seem to be functional. Maybe they used to have a light in them. They don't really pass through here at night, so I can't tell you. They do work. You can hear the parrots in the background. Very noisy. They love to gather here. I've been here in the past where I've caught some unique birds, some woodpeckers and other unusual birds that you don't see very often as well. That's Stolmeyer's castle in the background. So if you have not heard of Wildflower Park, you can see why you may have missed it, as it's not as popular as the Savannah, which is next to it, or the Hollows area, which is within the the Queen's Park Savannah, and in my opinion, the Hollows is more eye candy than here. This is more like if you like big trees, really. The botanic gardens would also rival here as well. But to me, there's lots more that can be done with the park. Lots more flowers, paths to walk. But probably there isn't a need or want for people to walk through here. But it has always been like this, huh? This is not a new thing or anything surrounded with the controversy. This park has always been like this. The only difference for me is that they fixed the drain a bit, and the use of the park, when people's wanting to use the park, maybe has changed. And this bamboo that is here is the only ones in the park, which is unusual. But it provides like a cover or shade that I'm surprised is, it's still utilized here. Because when I did come here, I did catch a vagrant or two, making use of the area. So if there was some interest in keeping people out, there would need to be a closer look at that little piece of area there. So tell me, what do you think about Wildflower Park and the use of public spaces? I do have another video about the way things seem to be cordoned off, walled, gated, restricted, and so forth in Trinidad. Things that used to be, you simply go there and have fun, seem to be always have some kind of restriction to it. Tell me what you think about Wildflower Park in the comments area. Thanks for watching.